got some folks who are gathering here tonight for riding across historic BC here at Vancouver BMW Ducati, and I'm talking to Kelly Anderson. And Kelly, we were just talking about the nature of adventure. I know a few people are here tonight who want to talk about adventure, get away from American politics, maybe talk about adventure a while. So what is the sort of recipe for adventure for you?
For me, probably the biggest thing for adventure is doing something that you've never done before, experiencing something that you've never experienced, and that can come in so many different forms. I think for a lot of people, getting on a motorcycle and going down a road they've never been on before, no matter in what form, is an adventure. But it could be as simple as something even as getting in a kitchen and cooking something different. But that concept certainly can be driven through so many different aspects of life. And I think a lot of people that come to an event like this, they're certainly very passionate about their motorcycling, but they want to see how other people have lived and adventured and enjoyed life.
Masses of awesome motorcycle, enthusiasts come out to it, and we love putting on talks like, Trevor here, who's going to turn around and talk about, some adventurous riding through historic BC tonight. He's written a couple of different books as well. So I'm going to leave the floor to him.
Thanks for coming. My name is Trevor Mark Hughes. I write for several motorcycle magazines on a freelance basis, from Motorcycle Mojo to Canadian Biker. And as Kelly mentioned, I've written a couple of books about travel across BC on my bike. And one of the things that really charges me up is getting to know the province via motorcycle, and getting to know its history, whether it be natural history or First Nations history or European colonial history. This is a presentation. I've changed it. I've updated it a little bit, but it was a presentation that I made for at Horizons Unlimited CanWest in Nakusp. I was the first time presented this year. Has anybody been to Nakusp? Great. It's southwestern Vancouver Island. I grew up in Victoria, and in the 80s there was a big conflict that went on between environmentalists and the forestry companies in this part of Vancouver Island. You recognize it? Victoria's here, Duncan's here, and there's the Strait of Georgia. And this little red line is a route that I took to this place, to a pretty recent provincial park. And I think a lot of people, when they think of Vancouver Island, they think of Highway 19A or Highway 19, maybe the road to Tofino and Iqaluit, the North Island route up to Port Hardy, and there's great rides to be had. But there's a network of Forest Service roads in Vancouver Island. I'm sure many of you are aware of. And some of them are run by the forestry companies, so some of them are more in use than others. But the one that I found, I researched this route quite a lot. It took me from Duncan along Highway 18 to Lake Cowichan, and then along Cowichan Lake on the southern shore, and then the asphalt kind of runs out here, and then travel Rosander, Maine, and then Carmanah, Maine, and then you end up to the trail net just down here of Carmanah Walbran Provincial Park. Now this is a place where, arguably, are the oldest trees standing in Canada. Highway 19. So from the south of Vancouver Island, we go to the south, Chilcotin. Who's heard of the Hurley Road? What I'm aiming for, what I'm striving for. And the Hurley Road was a challenge, but also there was, at the end, there was one of the most successful gold mines in Canadian history, is in South Chilcotin at Bralorne, Pioneer Mine. During the Great Depression, it was the biggest producer of gold in Canada, and at a time when unemployment was rife for a service road. And then this follows the river all the way. You really climb quite a lot. You're looking at this facade, and I'm riding with my friend Matt again, and he's again on the Silverway. And we're looking at it going, we're not going to be able to climb that. There's no way we're going to be able to climb that. It's a very steep ascent, and then it's quite corrugated. It's quite bumpy along there. There he is. Where's my friend Matt? There's GL. So I don't know if you can see it, but here, people tell you always to bring zip straps along with you. Right? So these are all zip straps. Part of his windshield fell off because of the vibration. This was the place that grew out those record amounts of gold in the 30s. They tore it down because there were squatters there, and they demolished it all. But while we were there, there were two guys and a lady who were trying to get a big piece of ore into their truck. It was about this, a little bit smaller than this, kind of like this, and they were trying to get it into their truck desperately. And I guess they just thought, 3 people were going to do it, and they're calling me back over. Can you help us? And we're all trying to get this thing, and I didn't want to throw my back out. We've got to ride the next day. And anyway, I'm sure they were just quite desperate to get this thing home so that they could just chisel away at it over the winter. This was in September of 20. It makes for a good, I'd say 4 days. I'd say give it 5 days, because there is there are some other communities that you could stop in at that I felt it was quite rushed in 3 days. So in my first book, I wrote about the Stewart-Cassiar Highway and getting up there. It was my first long-distance trip. This was something I did 4 years ago. And I rode part of the way to Prince Rupert with a friend, or to Prince George with a friend, excuse me. And then continued all that 16 by myself, and then Kitwanga Junction up to Meziadin, and then one of the places I stopped at between Kitwanga and Meziadin was this place called Gitanyow. I wanted to go to, there's a place called Kazan, which is in Hazelton, and it's a place that draws a lot of people, but this place I knew that Emily Carr had painted these totems when she was wandering around sort of northern British Columbia. And so I thought, well, that would be interesting to see it. It's just in a Gitsan village, 37A, is Bear Glacier, and this is just right off the highway. It's a very unusual place for a glacier. Just aren't many other glaciers around there, but it's a glacier that there's nothing that sort of gives you a sense of the passage of time, like a retreating glacier. And this is a glacier that has disappeared dramatically over the last 30 years. And so I was sitting at my bike. There's one person that came by and took this picture, but I was pretty much alone there and just watching it drip away in the August sun 4 years ago. Because it's named the Silvery Slope Can for a reason. It's covered with towns that cropped up during the Silver Rush of the 1890s. And this is the picture of it at the start. Has anybody been to Trout Lake? Yeah? Yeah? Trout Lake? Did you fuel up? Nearby, of course, okay, great. The 1897 built Windsor Hotel, which is a little bit of Victorian England plopped in the middle of Trout Lake City. I wanted desperately to stay there. The idea of having a cup of tea and sort of this sort of rugged wilderness. I was just imagining people coming up to seek their claims up there. This is, in my experience so far, this is the coolest ghost town I've ever been to in British Columbia, Sandon. Anybody been to Sandon? Yeah? Okay. Yeah. So, Sandon, again, like Galbraith's Ferry, which became Fort Steele, was a town that people just rushed to in a ridiculous rate after silver was discovered up there. Saloons, brothels, banks, hotels, in this place. Following the year 1891, when two prospectors stumbled on an outcrop of silver ore, Sandon blossomed into a city of 2,000 in just 7 years. 23 hotels and saloons, a bank, an opera house, even its own newspaper, the K Street, followed. Two competing railroads, the Canadian Pacific and Great Northern, wound their way into town, anxious to be the one to transport the ore out. The church accepted poker chips in the collection box on Sundays and would cash them in afterwards. The town burned to the ground in 1900 while gamblers took their game tables outside and played high-stakes poker as the fire blazed around them. From the ashes rose a new town, which faded as the galena was extracted to exhaustion. In 1955, a flood wiped out much of the surviving town. as well as the remnants of the flume that allowed citizens to walk on water. Just the stories, a few crumbling structures and ghosts remain. It's a really extraordinary place to ride to. You get to New Denver, you can ride from Caswell, and then there's a really lovely road, the 31A, that you can cross over to get there. Yeah? And then you take about 10-kilometer road, gravel road, to get to Sandon. One of the best volunteer-run museums I've ever been to is there. Just the people there are just so passionate. Done something like this before, but I wanted to write an article about sort of a route rather than just a place, getting to a place like Sandon or getting to. And it's the 100th year anniversary of the Othello tunnels in Hope, which were carved through for the Kettle Valley Railway, which went from Midway to Hope. Some people called it the Coast to Kootenay Railway, and it was designed to get ore, mainly. It was carry passengers as well, but it was designed to get ore out of the Silvery Slocan, bring it to Hope, where it would link up with the main line and bring them into Vancouver, bring the ore into Vancouver. So with that in mind, 100 years, it doesn't happen every day. I thought it'd be great to ride this route as closely as I could. The Kettle Valley Railway start in Midway. Great museum there, old restored caboose. But this is the beginning of a very historic railway, which only lasted for 60 years. It's kind of funny to think of that, the amount of engineering work that went into something like this, the trestle bridges in places that, in Kelowna and just south of Kelowna, the tunnels themselves and the Othello tunnels were, it's unbelievable to go. Has anybody been to the Othello tunnels? Just in Hope. It's quite an extraordinary place, isn't it? I mean, just to think that and you look through these 5 tunnels, and they're all aligned perfectly. And they're designed by a guy named Andrew McCullough, who here's Campbell River up here. It's Quadra Island, Texada. And I love riding. I mean, it's a very easy ride, but traveling 19A is a real pleasure from Parksville onto Campbell River. That's the road that I traveled with my parents when we would go up there and camp. So it brings back a lot of happy memories, big piles of oyster shells, and Muirfield Beach campground, a lot of happy memories. And I grew up in Victoria, Vancouver Island, and I had never taken this road up until September. This is Highway 28, which goes through Strathcona Provincial Park and ends up in the community of Gold River at Mukalat. 98 kilometers without there's one stop sign, but there aren't any communities in between there. And when you get to Mukalat Inlet, right in here, which is about 55 kilometers inland from here, so you feel like you're on the coast, but really, I guess you're not. And it's considered to be the north of the island. From there, you can take a boat called the MVU Chuck 3, which is a converted supply vessel, and you can go to Nootka Sound and Friendly Cove, which is the place of the first meeting between James Cook and Chief McQuinna. And that's considered to be the first point of contact on the west coast between First Nations and the road itself, Highway 28. Has everybody ridden Highway 28? Yeah. What are your thoughts on that? On Highway 28? Yeah. Oh, I absolutely loved it. And you get to go through the biggest park on Vancouver Island, and the scenery changes dramatically from when you're in Courtenay. You remember a few years ago, this would have been in the late 90s. You remember Luna, the killer whale calf? This was where Luna came in. And at the same time, Gold River was shutting down its pulp and paper mill. So it was a really big change for a small community. That whose main employer was the pulp and paper mill. And then they had this sort of media flurry and sort of fisheries and oceans descending on them about Luna. And so it was a real center point for, so it just had a lot of media attention, some negative and some positive. I wanted to see how they changed, how they grow from that. I mean, how do you grow from the main employer pulling out? So this is just parked. This is the start of Mukalat Inlet. The marina is just over here, and I mentioned the U-Chuck 3, which is a converted supply vessel, which can take you further on it drops off hikers, it drops off kayakers, and you can continue along, I believe, up until Tassos. I think it drops people off in Tassos. You can take a 1 day or a 2 day or a 3 day cruise on this old supply ship. I'm not going to do it again. I think that it's probably self-explanatory from this point on. Yeah, you can. Well, there's a road that I haven't been on yet.
You have been up there.
You've been up there? Yeah. It's a gravel road, so from Gold River? Yeah. So it's gravel from then on, because 28 is completely paved and expanding when I was there. But I was wondering about that road.
And it brought back memories when you showed me that. You showed me the old mindset and stuff. And he told stories of things that went on back then. And stuff. And he was an old guy. He was one of the 1905. But when I was young, he brought us there and showed us where he was doing and stuff like that. And it was very long ago. With a 1970 LTD with a 10 trailer.
With a 10 trailer.
We've actually been there with a 10 trailer.
There's 10 trailers. So how would you get up there? Would you take the Hurley or would you take
we
the
actually
Carmanah?
took the hydro axles for the other side of the lake with a 4-door Grand Prix.
We're hoping tonight to kind of share a little bit of different people's different ideas of where they have adventured in the past, and so hopefully some ideas will come from about the next adventure from this one, from this talk.
For sure, and certainly there's been a number of events that we've hosted here at the shop that are adventure related, and people come to the trip talks because they want to see and try to feel and understand what it's like to do those types of adventures that other people have experienced, and it might inspire them to go down that path themselves.